Hey crocheters, are you looking to bust some stash with a gorgeous new stitch? You're in the right place because it's time to learn the stacked puff stitch. This simple 2-row repeat of uniform little puff stitches stole my heart, and now it's coming for you. Hi, I'm Tony of TL Yarn Crafts, and I can't wait to share this delightfully textured stitch with you. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for weekly tutorials, tips, and crochet inspiration. This video is one of many helpful tutorials to accompany the Crochet Amour Sampler, a beautiful 20-block Afghan that teaches new crochet stitches and techniques with every square. To get the row-by-row instructions for this square and find out how to make the entire sampler blanket, visit the link in the description. Let's jump right in by making our slip knot. And we're going to work the stacked puff stitch over any odd number of foundation single crochets. Alternately, if you want to use regular chains, you're going to chain an even amount and then work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook and all the way across. I am going to be making foundation single crochets because it makes a nice stretchy base for my stitch. And if you want to make those too, here's how you do it. So we're going to yarn over, pull through for 1 chain and 2 chains. Now we're going to insert our hook into the first chain that we made. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1. Make sure you keep that chain loose. Then yarn over, pull through both, just like that. Now we're going to go back into that chain we made right here. We're going to go under 2 loops of that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1. Make sure you keep that loose. That's the chain we're working into next time. Yarn over, pull through both. Back into the chain, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 1, then 2. One more time together. Back into the 2 loops of that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over, pull through both. And to count these, we're actually going to flip to the other side, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4 V's right there. So we've made 4 stitches so far. Again, you're going to need an odd number of foundation single crochets for this stitch. I'm going to continue making my foundation row, and then we're going to jump into the pattern. I just finished my foundation, and you can see how nice and stretchy it is. So if you ever have trouble with your starting chains being too tight, foundation stitches might be the way to go. All right, let's jump into row 1 of this pattern. We're going to begin with a chain 1. We'll turn our work, and we're working along these V's here on the top of our foundation. So we're going to single crochet in this stitch right here at the base of the chain. So here's the chain that I just made. There's the stitch at the base. We're going under both loops of that stitch, just like that. Then we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, single in the following. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, single in the following. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, single in the following. And we're going to repeat that all the way down the line. And there we go. We've worked all the way down the row. So now we're going to move on to row 2. We're going to start with a chain 2, turn our work, and we're going to put our puff stitch into this chain 1 space right here. Now to make our puff stitch, we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop for 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. And 4. And the key to puff stitches is to pull up those loops nice and high so we have enough space to pull our yarn through. So we're going to yarn over and pull through all of those loops, just like that. And now we're going to follow that with a chain 1. And we're going to repeat that all the way down the line. So we'll find our next chain space right here, yarn over to start, pull up a loop for 1, yarn over, pull up a loop for 2, yarn over, pull up a loop for 3, yarn over, pull up a loop for 4. That should leave you with 9 loops on your hook. We'll yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Chain 1. Again, into the next chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop for 1, get the knots out of your yarn, there we go. Yarn over, pull up a loop for 2, here's 3, and 4. Now when I yarn over and pull through, notice that I dip my hook down so I can scoop through those loops very easily, just like that. One more time together, yarn over, pull up a loop for 1, here's 2, 3, and 4, right into that chain space, yarn over, tilt that hook down if you need to, and scoop through those loops, and always follow your puff stitch with a chain 1. So we're gonna repeat this all the way down the line, putting a puff stitch in each of our chain spaces. Meet me at the end of the row and we'll take a look together. I made it to the end of the row and all my puff stitches are done. Now at the very end, after that chain of your last puff stitch, we're gonna place a double crochet in the last stitch of the row. Just like that. Beautiful. Oh, they look so pretty. And this is the right side of our work and this is the back, okay? So let's move on to row 3. So we're going to chain 1 to start, turn our work. We'll place a single crochet here in the stitch at the base of the chain. Now we're going to chain 1, skip the puff stitch, single in the next stitch, which is right here. Chain 1, skip the puff, single in the stitch. Chain 1, skip the puff, single in the stitch. Now if you're a lazy bones like me, I like to skip the puff stitch and I just go down into this space. It's the same thing. Sometimes I don't feel like looking for this stitch, so I'm just going to go right into the space, but it accomplishes the same exact thing. And we're going to do this all the way across the row. Chain 1, skip 1, single in the stitch or the space, whichever one you are feeling motivated to look for. Single here, chain 1, I'm skipping this puff and I'm going to place a single in the top of the chain 2 at the end of the row. Fantastic. And now we're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3. So let's do row 2 again. That's our puff stitch row. Chain 2, turn our work. To start, we're going to place our first puff stitch right in this chain space here. So yarn over, pull up a loop in that space for 1. There's 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, pull through all the loops, followed by a chain 1. Right into the next space for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, pull through them all. Chain 1. Next space, 1, 2, 3, and 4, just like that. Yarn over, pull through them all. Chain 1. One more time together. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And pull through. Chain 1. Continue down the row, meet me at the end, and we'll do the next row together as well. I've made it towards the end of my row. I've got one more puff stitch to put here. Pull through. Chain 1, and remember we're putting a double crochet at the end of this row, just grabbing both loops of that last stitch there. Perfect. Chain 1, turn our work, and now we're repeating row 3. So it starts with that chain 1, single crochet here, the stitch at the base of the chain, followed by a chain 1, skip the puff, single in the next stitch or the space, whichever one you want. Chain 1, single in the next stitch, chain 1, skip the puff, single in the stitch, chain 1, skip 1, single in the stitch, or the space if you're lazy like me. It gets the job done, you know? It's the nice thing about crochet. Sometimes we can cut corners and you can't even tell. It's the difference between a novice and a pro. Making our way to the end of the row here, and we're gonna place a single crochet in the top of the chain 2. Just like that, and that finishes the row. So if we take a look here, it looks so pretty, but this side is technically our front side, but you can go with either side, whichever one you like the most. I'm gonna add a little bit more fabric onto my swatch here. We'll come back and compare and make sure we're on the right track. Alrighty, we are nearly done here. I'm gonna finish off with one of my single crochet rows, just like that, placing a single in the top of the chain 2. And then we can lift that loop up and look how pretty that stitch is. I don't know what it is about this stitch, and especially in this pink yarn. It is just giving baby blanket to me. And I think it is so, so gorgeous. And especially with all these nice puff stitches, this is gonna be a great stash busting stitch. I think this would also look really, really nice in some stripes. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.